You're listening to the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS podcast with hosts John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live show here Friday. Big slate of games on tap, kicking us into the weekend. It is the return of the MLB from the All-Star break. James, we had a nice little reprieve here. You were covering some NBA Summer League action during the break. We had some NFL Draft Guide articles come out during it, but it feels good to get back into the swing of things here with the MLB season returning to play.
Yeah, which once was a 14-game slate, now a 13-game slate, and who knows what it's going to end up at, John?
By the time this show ends, I would imagine it could be a little bit less. So
yeah, less games the better. The less games the better, please. Right. 14-game slate where it started with Coors Field to start the second half is always fun. You know, coming out of the break, teams are saying they're going to sell. Teams are figuring out if they're going to be buyers or sellers. Teams are
the Shohei Ohtani show.
I was going to say, like, teams are going to figure out what the heck's going on with Ohtani as he every day auditions for teams to come and rescue him and sweep him.
He doesn't need to audition anymore, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Honestly, if the Angels are truly considering trading him, why play him?
Agreed.
Right?
Especially pitch him. We'll pitch him specifically, right? Like, don't have him pitch. Like, have him hit.
Just have him hit. Don't risk the elbow. Don't risk the fluky things that can happen in the MLB. Like, he is the most coveted asset in all of baseball history, probably, when he hits the free agent market. And if I'm a team looking to trade for Ohtani, I'm probably trying to work some level of like, all right, I'll trade you whatever, but I need the ability to negotiate a contract with him right now, right? Like, I need Ohtani to agree to a deal because I think that's the only way the Angels are going to be able to maximize their return, because who's going to want to empty their farm system for 3 months of Ohtani and then hope to pay him $1 billion in the offseason, right? Like, I feel like they're going to need to work out some sort of contract extension while the trade is being manifested to happen.
3 questions, and we could yes or no.
Sure.
Is he traded by the deadline?
Yes.
Does he get over 550 million?
Yes.
Why is it the Yankees?
They have the most money, but they don't have the prospects.
Yeah, I mean
they have 2 prospects inside the top 100, only one in the top 50, and that's Jasson Dominguez, who's hitting 200 at Double-A this year.
Well, yeah.
And now listen, they obviously have a couple of first rounders in their top 5, Sweeney and blanking on who their number 3 prospect is, but a kid they took last year. They have Sweeney, who took 2 years ago, Dominguez. So they got a couple of first rounders in their top 5 system prospects, but only 2 have cracked the top 100 on MLB pipeline. So it's going to take a lot of players, salary, money. Maybe you throw Gleyber Torres in that deal, right? Like, juice up some MLB talent to get the deal done if you're the Yankees. But I mean, if you're looking at the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Yankees, teams that have money, the Red Sox, in theory, have money to make those kind of moves, and the prospects potentially to make these moves. You know, we'll see what happens. But I can't imagine the Angels go into this offseason and just give Ohtani away for free. I mean, it would be egregious. The Red Sox did that with Xander Bogaerts. They were hammered for it. Obviously, Xander not having a great year this year. They could have traded him last year at the deadline. People were hammering them for not trading Mookie Betts sooner than they did once they realized he wasn't signing that contract. Could have traded him mid-year 2 years ago. Instead, they waited till his final year, and Connor Wong looks like the best player of that return. So, if you're the Angels, don't fumble this bag. You gotta get her. This could reset your franchise with the right deal.
Yeah, and that was Xander Bogaerts. Like, this is the best player we may ever watch.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Agree with you 100% here. So, guys, big day obviously on tap here. We're going to break down the DraftKings slate, go over all the DFS stuff that we got going on here. But as you see down on the screen, we got a nice little promo going on with Real-Time Fantasy Sports. They have a daily DFS pick'em game. It's time now where we're going to go ahead and give you our favorite plays of the day. James, got a little real-time fantasy sports here on the screen. We're going over our favorite plays of the day. They have a ton of cool things you can do on over at Real Time. Why don't you let everybody know what we got going on here?
Yeah, amazing things going on at Real Time Sports or RT Sports. And they have a pick'em contest that you can play daily. Play the Real Time Sports Daily Pick'em contest, set a lineup of player props, hit them all, and win. Baseball, basketball, golf, football, and more. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, and first-time depositors get a 100% instant match up to $200 using code ALARM23. That is rtsports.com/alarm using code ALARM23, all one word, and first-time depositors get a 100% instant match up to $200. Please play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, so James, let's give a couple of our favorite plays here for today. Obviously, again, you can go 3x, 6x, 10x, 20x, or 40x when it comes to your potential winnings here tonight. Lead us off with one of your favorite plays of the day.
Yeah, favorite play of the day. We're going to Great American Small Park, and I emphasize the small. And Willy Adames has not had problems leaving the yard lately. We know his success against right-handed pitching facing Graham Ashcraft. So over 6.5 fantasy points for Willy Adames today.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Again, you're looking at the right-handed pitching. He's not at home, but it's one of the best hitting environments in all of baseball there, being in Cincinnati. Over 6.5 fantasy points, more than 6.5 fantasy points for him here tonight. I like that one. For me, I'm going to go at more than 6.5 strikeouts for Shohei Ohtani. It is set at minus 125 on the sport books here for the over. Like this spot here against Houston, who is not at 100% with that lineup. No Yordan Alvarez, no Jose Altuve, obviously there. So a little bit of a weaker lineup. We know Ohtani has some elite strikeout potential here, and you're getting him at 6.5 strikeouts here tonight. So I like the more for 6.5. So if you wanted to do a 2-pick for 3x, that's what we have going on. Any other plays you like here tonight, James?
I mean, it's hard not to go to Coors Field and take a look at some plays we have there. We do like Josh Donaldson on the road. That's okay when I have total bases, especially when he's facing a lefty. Anthony Volpe back atop the lineup for the Yankees. Half a run feels pretty good for Volpe. So if we wanted to play some props over there in Coors, I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, I like the Volpe over a half a run there. So if you did a 3-pick play here tonight, you can get 6x return on your money. Again, if you're not yet signed up over at Real Time Fantasy Sports here, you see the QR code on the side of the screen, or you can sign up using promo code ALARM23. You get a 100% deposit match up to $200 there. So go check all of that out that we got going on over at Real Time Fantasy Sports, and take advantage of the cool new offers that we got going on. Again, that's rtsports.com/alarm for first-time listeners. So, James, RT Sports Pick and Plays in the book. Howard Bender has his video over on YouTube and Twitter as well. You can check out his favorite RT Sports plays of the day. But let's turn the page. Let's switch it on over. Time to do a little DFS here for the day. We're going to break down this DraftKings slate that we got going on here for this big day. 14 games knocked down to 13 games. We'll talk about the weather. We'll talk about the spreads. Why don't we kick it off in Vegas?
Yeah, let's kick it off in Vegas. So notable over-unders. We noted on this morning's podcast, some places had 10.5 for Yankees Rockies. I think that's obviously going to Coors is the first place to note. It's at 11 pretty much across the industry. DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars all sit at 11. The over is the slight lean there. So take that for what it's worth. Other than that, like nothing significant other than Milwaukee, Cincinnati, which I think is expected. 10 implied runs in that game. Opened at 10.5. It's been bet down a little bit. That's probably more so due to Corbin Burns pitching than it is Graham Ashcraft pitching. So 10 implied runs there, 9.5 in Atlanta, Chicago. The under heavily favored there, Michael Kopech versus Charlie Morton. And then like interesting low totals. We have 7 implied runs in Seattle and Detroit. Eduardo Rodriguez, and Luis Castillo.
Yep.
And then we have, so this is interesting, and I'm not sure where there's maybe a typo or something. Minnesota Oakland is 8.5. PointsBet has it at 6.5, and then every other sports book has it at 8.5. That feels like something that you could take advantage of if you are in the gambling space.
6.5 is pretty low.
Yeah, 2 runs different than any other sports book currently. So
I wonder if like one didn't adjust to like Pablo Lopez not pitching anymore.
They had, I mean, listed it's Kenta Maeda, but like this is a site that I'm using that just lists every sports book's over under. So something to consider if you're in the betting world. 2 runs lower than any other sports book is like the most notable thing possible. So
that's actually pretty wild here. Let's go over to the weather again. We have the Weather Center over at Fantasy Alarm. You and I had talked a lot. We follow Kevin Roth over on Twitter. The DFS weatherman over there. He does his write-ups over at Roto Grinders. Again, you got a real weatherman doing weather reports over there.
Right.
And it's a sloppy slate, man. Like we already have one game bagged in Tampa Bay, Kansas City. Rain all up the East Coast, rain up in like the north, central U.S. as well. So a lot of potential weather issues with San Diego, Philadelphia, Miami, Baltimore, Dodgers, Mets, Chicago, Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Washington, St. Louis, and even in Colorado, there's a chance for some rain. Now, again, varying degrees of worry based off how he sort of has the forecast. Washington, St. Louis is a game where in St. Louis, they have rain that could wash this game out in the later innings if they don't, get it in. We have games like Atlanta where in the summer in Atlanta, pop-up storms always happen. So you never know. And if that pop-up storm just sits over the stadium and brings lightning, game could get shocked. So you really got to pay attention to the weather as we get closer to roster lock. James and I, again, we're 2 hours away from roster lock. You'll get a much clearer picture. So stay in the Discord, follow us on Twitter, get in the Weather Center, and make sure you pay attention to what's going on here tonight. We're going to do the best that we can with the advice that we give out when it comes to the weather here tonight. Obviously, we have had games in recent weeks where seemingly things are going to be okay, and then all of a sudden the teams postpone it for almost no real reason. So we've seen your comments in our Discord. We do our best when it comes to the weather. We're not the ones making these decisions. We're trying to use all the information that are available to us. We hear that it's good to go. We're going to tell you it's good to go, and then Jesus take the wheel at that point. We'll see what happens. So, but again, this is going to be a sloppy slate. So we talk about it all the time. Risk aversion. If you're okay putting some money on the line on a slate which is very questionable, literally looking at 7 games tonight that are gonna get wet. The 14-game slate, 1 game's already canceled. There's 7 more that could rain. So take that for what it is. Play light, vary your exposures. If you want to play safe, you can. And it's just a different way to go about attacking it. So off my soapbox here. That's just what we got to deal with when it comes to the weather tonight. James and I will do our best to navigate that for you as we break down tonight's slate. That said, let's kick it off with pitching, and right away we'll just bring up our guy Mark in the chat with the question: did Lopez get changed to Maeda, and is he still the chalk lord since he's got Oakland tonight? Those of you who watched the podcast this morning, when James and I recorded that last evening, there was like 4 different starting pitchers that were starting, and then today DraftKings updated, or teams updated who they were starting. So there were some changes. Pablo Lopez, who we loved against Oakland, it did get changed to Kenta Maeda. $2,000 difference in price. Gotta love that. Maeda $7,700. Lopez was over $9K. We also were all in on Arizona against Chris Bassett. Well, Chris Bassett's not starting anymore. It's Jose Berrios going up against Arizona. Have to deal with that change. Luis Castillo is starting tonight. I don't think he was starting initially. As Kirby, I believe it was against Detroit. No real price difference between those two. A couple $100, I think it was. So yes, the slate changed a little bit. I would say the only thing that's changed, though, from my opinion on the slate would be the Berrios play, because we were all in on the lefties against Bassett here. But still love Maeda, much as I did like Lopez here. Like Castillo against Detroit, not really changing much there. So talk to me about your favorite pitchers here tonight, James, up at the top.
Yeah. And no Tyler Glasnow either.
Right.
Now that Tyler Glasnow has been postponed. Don't refresh your page, John. You will get nothing but Tampa Bay red.
Okay.
Just letting you know now. It's does not look pretty. I mean, look, you could definitely get to Shohei Ohtani against a, kind of depleted Houston lineup. They were and have hit righties better of late, namely Yainer Diaz and Jose Abreu definitely came to life. And Kyle Tucker, we know how streaky he can be and how good he is when he's that streaky. But I have no problem getting to Ohtani here. I'm kind of, now that there is no Pablo Lopez, I'm kind of with you on your Charlie Morton bandwagon, and so is the field, as Charlie Morton is the second highest rostered pitcher of the night.
Yeah.
The highest roster pitcher, and I think it's for good reason. I was in on George Kirby last night. So naturally, and I know we tried to pick on Luis Castillo in the start before the All-Star break. Did not work. He looked really good, minus the strikeouts. 8,900 is kind of a silly price tag for Luis Castillo's upside. Now, I get it. He hasn't been the same guy. He's down to a 2.85 ERA. Like, he hit a little stretch where he was allowing power, and that is certainly correct.
Well, that's why we were in on Houston, but they just didn't come through that day.
Detroit doesn't have that. Like, that is not what Detroit has. So I'm getting to Luis Castillo with the field. The field is getting there. I'm getting there. And then Maeda, who is the third highest rostered pitcher of the night, or fourth highest behind Ohtani. And look, the thing about the Maeda, and everyone's going to say, well, Oakland's a different team, right? Because they're calling up two of their top.
Their lineup just came out, by the way. Oakland's lineup just came out. Soderstrom is hitting 5th. He's DHing. Geloff is hitting 6th. So it's Noda, Blade, Rooker, Brown, Soderstrom, Geloff, Peterson, Langeliers, and Allen tonight as their lineup. So two kids making their MLB debut tonight, getting called up to go against Maeda, who's coming off of a really strong outing against Kansas City, 7 innings and earned 9 Ks in that one. But still, he's pitched well since returning. He made 3 starts in Atlanta, 5 innings, 2 earned there. At Detroit, 5 shutout, 8 strikeouts. So I know the ERA looks pretty gross, but again, he gave up 10 runs against the Yankees in 3 innings, and that kind of skews really everything else because he was pretty good to start the year. So I think Maeda definitely is going to be in a lot of lineups, and I also think the reason you see Maeda and Castillo as the 2 of the highest rostered pitchers tonight is they avoid the weather. There's no weather problems in Seattle, in Oakland. So people are like, all right, these are the 2 safest games in terms of weather, and they fit builds how you want to build your roster tonight. So let's just throw them in there. At least we won't have to eat a PPD from our starters tonight.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about Maeda, since being back, and that's what I wrote up in the MLB DFS value article over on FantasyAlarm.com today. He's been great, and the strikeouts have been great. And this was a guy who was elite a couple years ago. He was a very, very good pitcher who suffered one dreadful start where it was hey, kid, you're staying out there for a little. I know you're getting shelled today, but we got to keep you in there.
72 pitches, 11 hits, 10 runs.
I mean,
thanks, coach.
Dude, you're not there's no scenario where your bullpen's not taxed in that. You have to really bite the bullet to keep someone in for that long. Because he didn't even allow home runs. These were just hits. Everything was just hit after hit after hit.
I wonder what his batting average in Boston play was for that game.
Dude.
Has to be miserable, right?
It was -17. That has to be one of the highest, or the highest negative score I've ever seen. -17?
No, it was in Arizona a couple years ago. I forget if it was an Arizona pitcher or if it was somebody going up against Arizona. They didn't get an out, and they gave up 11 runs.
Okay, so that's definitely the lowest. Okay.
I remember because I think I pitched him.
Oh,
and I was just my night's over. So
before it ever began.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
I think Maeda is very good chalk tonight. I feel
47 batting average in balls in play in that game.
That's
how about this one? He had a 30 ERA, 3.9 FIP in that game. So unlucky.
Unlucky. What else are we doing though? Even just looking at ownership, John, tonight, The field is playing the field that, and this was prior to the Glass Now information. So obviously, like, things will be distributed as ownership updates are reran. But with Glass Now involved, and let's see if this update just came through. Okay, so there's 4 guys: Castillo, Morton, Otani, Maeda. And then, like, it's like the field. It's like those 4 guys and then the field.
Yeah.
Who in the field piques your interest the most outside of the chalk 4?
I mean, did you mention Bayo there? Did I
No,
miss
I
that?
didn't. Bayo is not being owned. Bayo is 5% roster tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I like Brian Bayo.
Yep.
Now the strikeouts are obviously where we talked about it on the show. You want to see more out of him. You've pointed out that he's done a good job getting to around 5K as a start, but I mean, gets into he's been into the 7th inning in 5 straight starts,
Right,
which is great. Pitch count's not a problem. He's limiting damage. He's a ground ball machine,
yep.
Right? Like, we're looking at what do you think? Like a baby Stroman here, maybe, or a Berrios?
Yeah.
Like guys that like have some kind of strikeout potential, but really they just hammer the ground balls. Now, maybe the weather is keeping people off Bayo because, again, the same price point, you get Maeda against Oakland, and it's in a safer environment. So, like, why play Brian Bayo? Pivot off of him. I actually have lineups where I have both. I'm playing Bayo and Maeda in a lineup, and I'm just spinning up at hitters here tonight, getting some Braves in my lineup against Kopech. But, yeah, give me Brian Bayo, guys. Top pitching prospect in all of baseball last year. We saw the peripheral numbers. He was just super unlucky last season. Got super unlucky to start this year, and then he's been an absolute rock now for the better part of 2 months. So, yeah, give me Brian Bayo at 7,700 as a pivot off Maeda.
So I'm looking at some ground ball rates amongst pitchers who have just 50 qualified innings.
Yeah.
He's 5th in baseball in ground ball rate.
Yeah.
And that includes a reliever in Nick Martinez.
And you want to keep the ball on the ground. You want to keep the ball on the ground and Wrigley, right? You only get in the stream there, and they knock them out. So, that's, I guess I get it. Cubs guys are starting to hit. Bellinger's back. I think I saw the Cubs lineup. They have 6 lefties in their lineup here tonight. And I think you pointed out that lefties have given Bayo a little bit of trouble this year. So that's something to, I guess, look at. So, but
it's less now than it was. I think as the numbers,
as he's pitched better, right?
Like, small sample earlier, lefties were giving him issues. 316 WOBA against lefties, which is
average.
That's average. Like, righties are doing nothing against him, and even the power department are still plus on Bayo's side. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. Is there anybody else for you? Like, would you go down to anybody cheaper than Bayo Maeda?
Dean Kramer is interesting to me a little bit. Like, I understand Miami's offense in theory is like potent. I mean, they've been a good team all year, right? They've been a good team. I think one of the more surprising teams in baseball.
Yeah, Jorge Soler, one of the leaders in home runs, right? That's going to help.
Right. And they have a guy who's flirted with 400 all year. Like, at the top of their lineup, like, it's been pretty steady. But Dean Kramer is coming off a very solid strikeout outing. He has 8 straight starts with 5 or more strikeouts. So, like, there's been a very good base there. And yes, he has suffered some blowups in the middle of it. I mean, the Minnesota start was bad, and there was a start right before Toronto that he allowed 6 earned. He hasn't pitched great at home, but Miami's bottom 10 in almost every offensive category against right-handed pitching this year. They have a 22% strikeout rate, which is fine. Yeah. But 7,100 for a guy who literally just flashed double-digit strikeout upside. Sign me up in tournaments. Like, nobody's playing him, much like Bayo. Bayo's actually double his ownership, and Bayo's owned at 5%.
Right.
So that goes to show you that nobody's really playing anyone below Maeda. So yeah, taking shots on Bayo, Kramer in tournaments, I'm perfectly fine with. I think both those guys are solid.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's interesting. We talked a little bit about Sandy Alcantara on the show. That's just a bet on he turns it around a little bit, but it's not a great spot for him. And there aren't a ton of good indicators that he turns it around, but it's just a name value plays under 7K. I mean, what happened?
I don't have an idea. And it's funny when you look at his numbers, like nobody's hitting him hard. Like righties aren't hitting him hard and lefties don't have like great numbers. Like righties have a 129 ISO, lefties have a 139 ISO. Neither of those things are good.
Yeah.
Righties have a 292 WOBA. Bad. Lefties have a 321 WOBA, which is like, league average.
Yeah.
But he has an elite ground ball rate. I don't know what's happened. He's just ran into bad luck, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Eventually he's gonna come around. We obviously know he's not $6,800. So if you want to go there, like by all means,
Sure.
like get on the bandwagon before the NL Cy Young from last year comes back.
I agree 100%. And before we get on to the hitters here, those of you who tune in here, if you got any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. James and I are here more than happy to help you with your questions, lineup questions. You got any pick'em plays? We did the RT Sports pick'em earlier. If you got PrizePicks plays, you name it, we got it. We'll help you guys cover out here tonight. My PrizePicks videos out on YouTube and Fantasy Alarm there as well. So James, moving on over to catcher. Talk to me about some of your favorites. Again, a lot of options here tonight. Some interesting matchups that we're looking to target. Obviously, we're dodging the weather darts, but Soderstrom is listed as a catcher on this slate, and he is $2,000. We love Maeda. Would you just be okay with the punt against him, though? Or, how are you approaching catcher tonight?
I mean, I'm okay. Like, I'm not going to use – I don't – on a now 13 game slate, I'm not going to use my catcher against my pitcher. I think there's just better options. But if you're not using Maeda, I'm perfectly fine going to Soderstrom, who showed a lot of power in the minor leagues. If I am using Maeda, I'm not using Soderstrom, and I just go elsewhere. If I'm spending up, like obviously Verlander has been worse against righties. If you want to play Will Smith, Sean Murphy's good against anyone.
Murphy has been unbelievable.
I know Oakland must have got a really good deal for him too, right? They must have got a really good return for him and Olsen, right? So. I mean, I know we made that joke last night for Olsen.
Look at
the same thing you said about Sean
30
Murphy.
Home runs as a catcher.
I mean, the Braves have like 5 MVP candidates in their lineup, and he's catching every day too. So like, good on you, Sean Murphy. If you want to play Murphy, that's fine. Not really interested in much of this next tier. I think I would get to some William Contreras and some Wilson Contreras, depending on like how the weather shakes out in St. Louis. Like I love St. Louis today, John. Like it's really hard not to for me to like St. Louis. Like Wilson Contreras has been as good as anybody in baseball lately. And Trevor Williams, for a guy who's been historically bad against lefties, and he's bad against lefties again this year, has been worse against right-handed bats. So Wilson Contreras hitting 5th, William Contreras hitting 2nd against Ashcraft, who has not been any good. So like Contreras squared for me would probably be the next 2 games.
I'll buy into some Patrick Bailey here as well. We we're in on the Giants here tonight. We'll go over that as we come across these other positions. They're all cheap, and Rich Hill is terrible. So I did, again, my props plays today, did the Rich Hill over 2.5 earned. 5 straight starts, he's allowed over 2.5 earned runs, and 7 of his last 9 starts, he's allowed over 2.5 earned runs for Rich Hill. So
we said at 2.5.
Yeah. Huh? So not great. It's not great. So
well, great for bank accounts.
Great if you're taking the over.
Great for those
taking the over on it for sure. So I like Bailey a lot here. And then it was just some value. Connor Wong's in the lineup. He gets a righty. We like him at $2,500. Can go there. You mentioned Soderstrom's obviously down here, hitting 6 tonight at 2K. Anybody else at catcher for you?
Yeah, Higashioka 2.9. He hits lefties well. He gets Austin Gomber in cores. And then if you're pivoting off of William Contreras, how about Victor Caratini, John, hitting 5th tonight against Graham Ashcraft? Look, the Brewers are in a very good spot and are in they have very interesting lineup positions tonight. I mean, Yelich obviously leading off, but Adames is 43. Talk about another team that's incredibly affordable. No one in their lineup is more than 4,600. And their 4-hitter, Owen Miller, 34. Their 5-hitter, Victor Caratini, 26. Like, the middle of this order is incredibly cheap if you're someone who's playing Ohtani or if you're spending up to get the Braves or whatever your spend up stack is. Milwaukee.
Angels just put 2 players on the IL, by the way. Joe Adell and Anthony Rendon both on the injured list. So.
All right, so Ohtani might just revolt, like just literally might like white picket fence.
Yeah, I don't know who's playing tonight for the Angels.
They have a lineup. There's a lineup. There's a lineup out there. Yeah. Your boy Zach Nato back and leading off tonight.
Like that.
Ohtani, Ward, Moniak, Rengi, and this is where
falls
things
off. Yeah, right here. Yeah.
What are we doing? Rengifo hitting 5th, Moustakas 6th, Renfroe 7th, Wallach 8th, and Stefanak
I forgot
9th.
that they traded. I forgot they traded for Moustakas or signed Moustakas.
They traded for. Yeah, you were away. They got him and Escobar when you were away. Those were the things to get Ohtani to tickle Ohtani's fancy to keep him like. We're gonna bring in Escobar and Moustakas. What do you think, Shohei?
So do we go back to JP France then? Do we take a peek there? I mean, that's pretty gross.
I mean, we could, and we've said it all along. Like JP France has struggled against righties, and we keep playing guys against him, but he doesn't like give. Other than that one start against the Cubs, like his third start, I was like, let's play him. I'm like striking out on the attacking JP France. Maybe we do. Circle back to JP France and use him.
I think it's possible here. Again, this will be a little contrarian for tonight. All right, let's move on over to first. You mentioned you like a lot of Cardinals here, so Goldschmidt's the top, one of the top guys at $5,500. I like Olsen, obviously $6K. Not gonna really fight you on that one. And Vladdy's at 52. So looking at guys over $5K, I think that would be my player pool.
That would be my player pool. Honestly, I always throw Alonso in there against a lefty, and especially I know Urias did look kind of good again in his last start against Pittsburgh, but it's Pittsburgh, so take that with a grain of salt. He's been bad. He had been bad for the entire year pretty much. So I would throw Alonso in there as my GPP darling of that group. But I do agree, Olsen, Goldschmidt, Guerrero are like creme de la creme.
That's kind of where I'm peeking at. Justin Turner, by the way, starting at second base tonight for the Red Sox. So we'll see how quickly DraftKings flips the positional eligibility on him. But he's $4,700 here. Nathaniel Lowe against Savali at 46. Excuse me. Anybody in this mid-range kind of sticking out to you? I looked at it again earlier today when I was building my lineups. I didn't really care for this grouping.
I would play, if you're playing Reds, I'd play Votto. Just for power upside. He's hitting a lot of home runs right now, 4 home runs in his last 10 games, and he has 7 in his first 17. That is literally, that's probably it. And also, like, the rest of the Reds lineup is just not affordable. Like, they're all very expensive. Votto and Will Benson, who's hitting 9th, are like the only 2 affordable players. So especially if you're plugging a McLean or an India or Elliott.
I'm with you there. Meneses has been really good lately. Power-wise.
He's been really good all year.
Good power-wise. He got to a slow start. He's starting to really come around. If you look at the power lately here, 4 homers over the last 3 games, all in Texas there. So, maybe starting to show the power he showed last year in the second half of this year. You mentioned Owen Miller. He's 34. Wilmer Flores, though, $3,200 is the guy that you and I are fans of tonight.
Yeah, he's been awesome, hitting 322 on the year against left-handed pitching. And this is someone that did this his entire first half of his career, getting back to it, along with the 322, hitting 195 ISO, 381 WOBA, and hitting second tonight in the Giants lineup. So I love Wilmer. I think this is a really interesting value tier, John, because Meneses, Miller, Cooper, who is, when he's healthy, he's going really well right now. A lot of power. Flores, and I just saw you flash the name, Brandon Belt. Dude, Ryan Nelson has been dreadful against left-handed.
It's just too bad that there's only 3 lefties basically in this line. They're not even playing Kevin Biggio tonight. It hurts my feelings. Got Kiermaier, Belt, and Varsho in the lineup.
Yeah, that's, I think, been the flaw for Toronto all year. I wouldn't be surprised. That was probably why they went out and got Varsho, right? That was the main purpose of getting Varsho and Belt. They didn't have lefties, and they need more. But Belt against right-handed bats this year, 192 ISO, or right-handed pitching rather. 192 ISO, 360.
You just have to decide. It's the Pujols Goldschmidt from last year. We go all the time.
Yeah,
it's like,
it is.
Are you going to play Vladdy or are you going to play Belt? Because you can't play them both before.
Right. It's opportunity cost. No, it's the opportunity cost.
You don't play Vladdy, but it lets you play Bichette and Springer, right? Like,
I know. Unfortunately, Belt last week had before the All-Star break had outfield eligibility. It was amazing. Like, I was like, oh, we could just play Brandon Belt in the outfield and like not even have to worry about it. But that dream is now dead. Like, can we stop giving Ohtani first base eligibility if we're not going to give Brandon Belt first base eligibility? It's the same. Yeah. It's the same thing minus like
DraftKings needs to add a util spot. That's what it is.
No. We've too much experience.
Keep catcher, but just give us util.
Well, then we need extra money.
That's probably true. Solano's there, but Waldichuk, who knows how long he'll be in the game for. I got nobody else. Anybody else for you? Okay. Moving on over to second base then. Talk to me about your favorite second baseman. Bet Simeon, Marte, Albie is your top 4 guys price-wise. McLean in there. Gleiber and Coors maybe is a target?
Yeah, I mean, we can mention Mookie here if we want because we're going to mention 1,000 outfielders. Righties against Verlander has given him fits, and Mookie's one of the hottest hitters on the planet. So he's hitting everything out. If you want to go there, that's fine. We know Simeon's good split is the right side, but Savali's been really good. Lefties still give Barrios problems. Like, that is still the problem that he has that Bassett has, just not to the extent that Bassett has.
Because Bassett gives up home runs. Barrios just doesn't give up home runs.
So. Yeah. So if you're playing Arizona, like, obviously getting to Ketel Marte is okay. I don't think this is a position I'm necessarily looking to spend up on.
I plugged Gleiber in lineups here tonight. Gomber and Coors.
Yeah, that could work. He's just like, he just hasn't been the same guy since his breakout campaign.
Like, we talk about all the time. The Yankees lineup is trash without Judge. So
it is. Now, to your point, like 188 ISO against lefties is fine. Yeah. Right? That's like pretty good. And they do have like pretty good numbers against lefties overall. They have a good implied total, 6.6 runs. So you want to get to Gleyber.
Exposure to Yankees tonight.
We'll check exposure to Yankees. I'm just gonna go to second base and see what we're getting. Gleyber is the highest owned projected second baseman with LeMahieu second. Just to the third highest is my favorite second baseman of the day, Brendan Donovan, $3,100. He's hit righties extremely well, and he's leading off once again. And I've kind of hinted at this. I love St. Louis tonight. I think they provide great value, and they have elite spend-ups, obviously, in Goldschmidt and Arenado. But Donovan leading off 3,100 has hit really well over the last 2 months, hitting 400 in July before the break, hit 320 in June. And he's hitting righties really well, all 9 of his home runs against right-handed pitching. So $3,100. I love Brandon Donovan leading off against Trevor Williams, who stinks. He's bad against lefties. He's bad against righties.
I don't mind that. Again, I haven't played a ton of St. Louis this year, but I mean, if that game goes off, the weather.
Well, it's probably profitable for you because it's not very good this year.
They're going to be trading everybody, right? So, trying to see here if we've gotten any updated weather. It doesn't look like we've had too much updates to the weather here. That game is still kind of the same. Scattered storms ahead of the game. If it comes over, it could be a delay, but if not, it seems like it'll play. So, this is again a position where Kyle Farmer's sitting cleanup 2,300, but as soon as Waldichuk comes out, like they could pull Farmer out of that game. Terang against Ashcraft in Cincinnati could be interesting for a value play. Schmidt again, more cheap San Francisco guys at $2,800 there as well. So just some value guys if you're not looking to spend up for Gleyber here tonight. Moving on over to third base. Top options here: Ellie, Ramirez, Devers, Arenado, Jung, Riley. You looking to spend up at this position tonight?
There's no wrong answer there. It's a opportunity cost position always. Like, you could definitely play Rafael Devers. I think of him and Arenado would probably be my top 2 guys, especially with Arenado hitting the way he is and Trevor Williams struggling so much against right. Arenado and Devers would be 1 and 2 for me. Obviously, no problems getting to a guy who can steal 3 bases in 2 pitches, including home. So,
yeah. Yeah, I threw some Riley in lineups again. I like Atlanta tonight.
Yeah.
Against Kopech here. So I like the under 5K price tag for Riley. Gunnar Henderson super appealing if Alcantara continues to be really bad. Gunnar, the Gun Show, has been super fun to watch over the last month or so. So certainly can find ways to get him into lineups here tonight. JD Davis is $4,300 against Rich Hill. We've talked a lot about liking San Francisco there. Donaldson hitting 5th tonight, gets a lefty in Coors at $3,500. Has the power potential for there. We've talked Wilmer. Like, what other value third basemen are on your radar tonight?
It's probably just the guys you mentioned. Like,
okay.
You could definitely play JD Davis. I like that. You could definitely play Donaldson in tournaments, entering Yankee stack. That works. Owen Miller, you mentioned at first. He's in play. I know LeMahieu's being owned. I'm going to fade that situation, just how bad he's been. Like, I get it. It's Coors. I get it. He used to play in Colorado. Literally the least likely person on the planet to have revenge on his mind, maybe ever. Like, he is the most, like, stone cold person I've ever seen. Like, never seen him literally crack a single emotion. So, fading LeMahieu and how bad he's been.
Got Eugenio here, power-wise against...
Yeah, the Mariners in general are interesting just with how powerful they can be against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, I mean, 999 OPS the last 10 games, 3 homers. You just ignore the batting average and get a lefty against Erod, who was not good a couple starts ago. So on over to shortstop then. Geloff was 2K 2-min price. If you're not going it, you want to play the rookies coming up from Oakland, you could go there. Shortstop has Seager. We talked to Ellie, McClain. We've mentioned Bichette. Lindor versus a lefty here.
Yep.
Correa against a lefty, and Waldachuk a possibility, and a lot of guys here in the top of the lineup here for shortstop position.
Yeah, so I think if I'm okay with like all these guys in stacks and stuff, but like first off, I'm pissed that Volpe's hitting 8th.
Why is he hitting 8th?
It's super annoying. Now that I see the Yankees lineup, like that's just incredibly annoying. He would probably be the guy I would get to if he was
still
leading off.
Play him hitting 8th because there's
yeah. I'm not saying like I wouldn't. He was just such a lock and load at 4K, but like Adames at 4,300, I'm having a hard time looking away. Like. Sure. Gets a righty in maybe the best in the best environment outside of Coors, and he's been really, really good. Hits in 9 of 10 games, and
it does have to be mentioned that those are all home games.
Home games. It's totally fair. But like, I mean, let's be real. Like, this feels like a home game for everybody. Like this is an elite hitting environment in general. So I love Adames. Ashcraft has struggled against righties as much as he struggled with lefties. I actually think he struggled more with righties. Yeah, 187 ISO allowed, 377 WOBA allowed to righties. So I will definitely be playing Willie Adames at 4,300.
Yeah, again, we like Adames. We like the Brewers here tonight, just in general, because of the ballpark. Going up against Ashcraft, it makes a lot of sense. Mark wants to know, do we like CJ Abrams tonight? He's leading off for the Nationals here. What's our Abrams price tag here tonight?
Abrams is 2,900, and he has been really good, and I'm happy they moved him to lead off because he does provide this lineup a little more speed and a little more, I think, juice at the Lane Thomas needs to be knocking people in. Like he's been your best hitter. Like move him down. Let Abrams. I mean, Abrams has 5 stolen bases in his last 4 games. Like he's getting on. He was
a centerpiece. Him and Gore were the centerpiece of the Soto trade. So
and so I mean, I think 2,900. He has good numbers against righties. 169 ISO, 324 WOBA against right-handed pitching. And where Miklas has struggled since the beginning of time has been left-handed bats. This year, no different. 330 WOBA allowed to lefties. 150 ISO is whatever. Yeah. But I mean, again, with Abrams, get on and steal second. right? And then score a run. That's what we're looking for. So yeah, definitely think CJ Abrams 2,900 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm with you there as well. Any other shortstops for you tonight?
No, those three actually, Volpe, Adames, Abrams getting a lot of love on the.
We got a Mariners lineup here. Good timing. We have Caballero on the lineup. $2,200 versus a lefty, hitting second base shortstop eligibility. He is hitting 8th tonight, but you're looking for a punt play down here. Gets the right split side for him in terms of hitting the ball. We know the speed is there. He's had some big games for us this season. Any interest?
He has. I'm just looking through. In 58 games, he has 4 stolen base games this year. So he does definitely have that appeal. It's fine. Like okay. I think you don't need to go all the way down there because you could just get Abrams at 2,900. But
sure.
If you needed the $700, Caballero's fine.
Sure. Yeah, I had a Ronda in some lineups and obviously that game got banged out. So looking for some value to replace could be a spot for him, even though he's hitting at the bottom of that Seattle lineup here tonight. All right, let's move on over to outfield. We'll get to this through, and we'll start making our lineups, give our calls, and have a good weekend after that, pretty much. So let's go to the outfield. Acuna, 66, Bet 64, Carroll, 61. Lewis Robert is up to 6K here. If you're breaking down the 6K tier, how do you rank him out tonight, James?
That's what are we doing? Rank them? It's impossible. I would say like Acuna won by default just because he's going to have 100 stolen bases this year and also probably hit 40 home runs. So I'll go Acuna 1. Bets. I'll probably just go as they're priced. I think as the Berrios does struggle with lefties. Luis Robert should be priced this high given like what he's been able to do, especially in the power department over the last like month. He's just hitting.
Glad the calf wasn't the problem for him,
Yeah, the calf. Right. I'd probably just rank them as priced. I also have no problem if you want to say Mookie 1 over Acuna. Like that's obviously fine given how good Mookie.
Yeah, I think the only one I would flip would be either Betts or Carroll. I think I would go back and forth between those two, but I think Acuna is the 1 and Robert's the 4 of that group. Going below. I like Springer against Nelson at $5,500. Probably the only other 5K outfielder I play. I probably because it's Coors and he can hit it out of the stadium, but like he's not hitting.
He has been better. He has been better.
He had one good game that helped the total averages, but
so here maybe this is something. And again, small sample this year, 400 ISO, 430 WOBA against lefties. Last year,
he's going to hit lefties. Right. It's Coors, so
187 ISO last year against lefties. So, like, he just hits a lot of home runs. So, who is the most likely to hit a home run today in Coors? The answer is probably Giancarlo Stanton.
Most likely Giancarlo Stanton. I would agree with you. Under 5K, I like Mullins at 48. I like Julio Rodriguez at 48. $100 like Yoshida and Yelich both at $4,600 and that kind of upper half of the 4K range.
Yeah, so I think for me, I just gravitate right to Yoshida and Yelich. I think those are the two guys for me. Yoshida's been on a different planet of late, and this is like the 3rd time this year where he's visited this planet where he's just like unconscious and then he like cools off and then he goes back to being unconscious. And right now, get him while he's hot. So Yoshida, Yelich has been getting back to where he was, like, and he's adding stolen bases.
I don't understand this return to form. The guy was bad for 3 years, and then all of a sudden he's back to like not like the MVP that he was, and then he was MVP and then runner-up MVP back-to-back years, but it's gonna hit 25 home runs and steal like 35 bags.
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah,
I'm with you there. Then you get him in left-handed bat in Cincinnati against Ashcraft. I love that play tonight as well. Looking at that $4,600 range. Below them, where's your outfield targets from there?
I mean, Harrison Bader is going to be popular. $4,300 hitting 4th. He's hit lefties well. He had that. We all knew he was coming back to earth after when he came back. He was on that insane stretch and it was like, all right, well, he's not this guy. And he's not. but he's still a good baseball player. He's hitting fourth. He's definitely in play. Lars Nootbaar, this interesting Cardinals decision to bat him third, and I don't know. I think it's just like they're splitting up righty lefty at this point.
Yeah.
But he's hitting third in a lineup that gets a great matchup. The only thing, again, you have to worry about in this game is the weather. Not that the Cardinals can't score against Trevor Williams, because they will if this game plays. So I like him quite a bit. And then you just dip down to like this outfield just feels like a position. And I mean, obviously there's 26 teams in action tonight.
They got Sawinski leading off for Pittsburgh tonight, huh?
Dude, yeah. Crazy. I mean, he just is like every other day, it feels like he's hitting a home run. So you could definitely get to Sawinski, but like this position just feels like there's so much value tonight.
Yeah.
Like Jarren Duran has no business not being.
He's hitting 548 with a 600 OPS. Like,
why is he below 4K? Like, why is he below $4,500? That not.
He hasn't been above 4K this year.
Once. I don't.
He hit 4K once. Hasn't been above it all season long.
Well, all season he's been hitting above 300. So like, what are we doing? Austin Slater has historically been good against lefties. He's leading off again. We have Tommy Pham against a lefty. Like
Teoscar's here against a lefty.
Dude, Teoscar against the lefty. We have Jordan Walker at 3K, who smashes righties against Trevor Williams, who pitches poorly against righties. We have Jake McCarthy, 3K. We have Jesus Sanchez, who went into the break on fire, especially in the power department.
You were talking up Janikowski there forever. I mean, hitting seventh tonight.
There is an enormous amount of value in the outfield. Alec Thomas as your wraparound stack, hitting
Benson's
ninth
down here.
Benson, like there is a lot of elite value. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, as bad as he has been at times, 333 in his last 10 going into the break, hitting seventh for the Yankees tonight. So I mean, Henry Davis is hitting third. Like there's a lot of.
He's being bit by the small sample size bug. He went over. He had like 3 games of offers, and now he's hitting 230.
And now he's hitting 230. Yep.
And if he goes 2 for 4 tonight, he'll be hitting 280. So it's don't get scared by the batting average. There's a lot of talent. So yeah, I agree with you. It's like you don't have to spend up at outfield tonight, but if you don't spend up at outfield, you're losing out on Acuna. You're losing out on like Betts and all those guys. But there's plenty of value on the board in the outfield this evening.
I think it just depends on your roster construction, right? Like if you're playing Ohtani, you can afford to go Acuna or Betts, but you can only afford one of them. And then you're going to have 2 value outfielders essentially.
Yeah.
Or if you're not, if you like you said, you did a double Maeda Bayo play, you can probably get 2 of those outfielders and one of the value plays. So like it just all depends on your roster construction. I agree with what you said. I wouldn't just like punt my outfield when you have the elite names you have. But like I'd play 2 of them. Like no doubt I'd play 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, let's get to it. Grande's Gems, Impemba Imprints for this slate. Kick us off here, James. Who is your top play of the day?
Top play and home run call are going to be the same person. It's going to be Nolan Arenado at third base. He's hitting righties really well, and Trevor Williams has been really bad. Top stack of the day. So I'm going to go Milwaukee because they're going to be more popular than my contrarian stack of the day, and that's the stack I've been talking about the whole show. The Cardinals, if they play, is my contrarian stack.
Okay.
And then my value play of the night, I'm just going to stick with the theme, and I'm going to go Jordan Walker. I'm all in on the Cardinals tonight.
All in on the Cards.
Yeah, I'm all in on the Cards. So the only non-card I said in that whole thing was playing the Brewers as my top stack.
All right, I'm going to go with my home run call. Is going to be Matt Olson here tonight. My top stack, I'm going Braves tonight again if that game plays out. For my contrarian stack, I guess I'm going Red Sox. And if you don't think anybody's playing the Red Sox here.
Well, I'll look at it. I'll look at it for us right now and see what officially we have for like. Let's see.
But I mean, value play Duran, obviously down at $3,500, $3,600. I like that a lot here tonight for my value play. And then if I'm going for my star of the night, we're going to go with Ronald Acuna here. So Olsen homers, Acuna is the star, Duran's the value. Top stacks can be the Braves. I guess we'll see how contrarian the Red Sox will be here, but I like Boston tonight against Hendricks and the Cubs.
So everyone's playing Yankees, obviously.
Yeah.
It's, Milwaukee's the second highest rostered stack. Boston's fifth, but only at 7%. So like you're gonna get some very low on Red Sox in that fray. Cardinals are fourth for me, so we're both like semi-contrarian tonight. I mean, neither of us picked Yankees, so like
it's true. We like some Yankees though. We talked about them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't do cores, right? So that's sometimes our problem.
No, well, I think we've shed that. Like we've kind of just
sure. All right, I got a couple minutes left. Let's put a lineup together for the folks at home. Pitching. Are we plugging Maeda in?
I think so. As long as
all right, then what's our SP2 here tonight? Do we do the double spend down? Do we do Morton Maeda, Castillo Maeda?
I like one of those two. I think one of those two.
Okay, let's ride the chalk train then.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Or Luis?
4,100, yeah, Luis. 4,100, 4,200 to play. We both like Duran for some value in the outfield here. Yep. We like a lot of value outfield. What's our second value outfielder here?
I mean,
Walker?
I'll say Jordan Walker. Okay. Yeah.
And you had
Arenado.
Where is he? Keep rolling. Arenado. I liked Olsen.
Cunha. Oh yeah, you have Acuna.
3,800. Let's use a value catcher then here.
And Brendan Donovan at second base is a 3,100 second baseman. That will provide us some value.
Catcher then. You want to just throw Connor Wong in there?
Yeah, I was going to say Wong or Carantini are probably the two.
Sure. Adames.
Yep.
This is going to probably work out well for us here. Adames, $5,600.
Springer as a one-off.
I mean, we could go down to Yelich and see what we can do. 35. Does that give us a better catching option?
It just really gets us to like Carantini, honestly. But we'd have 500 left.
I'm fine.
Or
with
900 left.
So much
Sorry,
money.
900
let's see. Where do we want to go then?
Looking at second. If you go up, there's like nothing there.
Really there. We don't have to spend all the money either. We don't.
We don't. What about the outfield? We have $900 from either Jordan Walker or Duran.
Who would you rather keep, Duran or Walker?
Probably Duran. I mean, current form Duran's hard to pick against.
All right, $3,900 then.
Now we can play Newt Bar, and essentially we have the 1-3-4 stack of St. Louis.
Worked. Newt Bar's in there. So that's a lineup: Maeda, Castillo, Carantini, Olsen, Donovan, Arenado, Adames, Duran, Newt Bar, and Yelich. We got a little bit of a 3-man Milwaukee stack. We got a 3-man St. Louis stack. We got a one-off Atlanta, and we got Jarren Duran in the lineup. That's the show here for everybody. We'll be back on Monday. Full week of MLB DFS content coming your way. If you don't yet have the Fantasy Alarm All-Pro package, sign up. I know what you're waiting for. Promo code MLB50 gets you 50% off the first 6 months. It's $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. It comes with a 7-day free trial, and it comes with our Fantasy Football Draft Guide, which comes free with your All-Pro subscription. So really no better time than now to join. Take advantage of everything that we have going on here at Fantasy Alarm. James, final words for the people at home?
Everyone, good luck and be safe this weekend. And John, take care. Have a great weekend. I'm sure we'll be talking.
Everybody.
Yeah.